Okay, I believe the question was regarding school safety, is that correct?
Would you like me to repeat it?
Just school safety, correct?
Yes.
Okay, on the issue of school safety, one thing that really bothers me is the school police. The school police for decades have been underfunded, undertrained, and not a true police force, especially within the domain of the school-type police function and their certification and training and their pay. And it's something we have to be competitive. If you don't pay them right, again, as you notice on my campaign literature, attitude. And that's a major problem throughout the district on multiple levels, is the attitude. You got to treat the people right, train them. And they have this idea of armed persons on campus, done right. It's a necessity in today's environment. Okay, and furthermore, on the securing on the perimeters of the schools and the access to the school. I've been told by multiple persons who they took their kids out of Nogales because it is unsafe. And they were talking long before I got involved of a person, one got killed in a parking lot across the street at 7-Eleven. They aren't going to have their kids in that environment, and that's something that has to be addressed. Around Nogales High School, they're career gangbangers. We've got to deal with it, make sure that's safe, and if we don't do that, everything else is down too. On the part of bullying, we have to assume at the year 2015 that anti-bullying program is should be by this time very well addressed and taken care of. And there are other issues that we could go to as far as civil defense, but that goes into another area of concern. Thank you very much.
First, about school safety, there's something I would like to make sure that I think a lot of people don't know. Actually, school do have drills, and we do it at least once a year. Every time when the school starts, we do that. We trained not just the teachers, also the staffs to how to handle when the situation happens. And also that we have a gate, or fence every school site, and if you need to get into the school, you have the first thing you have to pass is the office, and the office will have you register and check, and then direct you to the place you're supposed to be. So I think the district, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm trying to say is that the district has done a lot of things. We try to put up security camera in the evening so that we don't have to risk the police life, in the things that protecting the property. I think the protecting are supposed to be the students, not the property. So that's one thing that I would like to clear. Another thing I would like to know is that the things that we see, campus shooting, even things bullying, this is the outcome of it's a behavior. What the behavior came out is psychological issues. The students that they have some issues, they have problems, and then they either lacking of the help, or they don't know whom to talk to. So the only thing they act out at the last probably is shooting or quarrel or fighting at the school side. So I believe that whole child education go down to the roots to find out the problem, educate our kids. That's the issue, and that's the way we're supposed to do.
Safety is a big concern of mine. I believe that there should be more evacuation drills, earthquake drills, fire drills at all of our school sites. As a teacher, I practice with my classroom as much as I can. Also, there should be parents feeling safe when they drop off their children at school and when they pick them up. I believe there should be more discipline policies at each of our schools. We should bring back the community day center for students that still may have discipline issues. I also think that we should, as a board member, it is our job to make sure that all our students are safe, all of our staff is safe, and the community feels safe. Thank you.
As mother of two, safety of my children is the top important, the most an important issue. But for my past experiences, do I feel safe to put my children into the schools? The answer is sometimes not feeling too safe. Because before, as my daughter attend the elementary school, they are not supposed to leave school ground until their parents come and pick them up. But as I drove up to pick my daughter up, there are a lot of children walking around on the other side of the street, across the campus. Where are the supervisors? That is what my concern. As a parent, I not really understand what's the safety issue in your school. So, is the teacher or the district communicate with the parents to make sure that our students are really safe in schools? And that's my concern as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sue. Mr. Whittingham, the next question, please. Next question. Preparing students for America's jobs of the future is a national priority and a local social equity concern. What would you do in this district to increase and improve student access to college-bound curriculum, as well as to provide skills training for our students to be highly employable? Mr. Humphreys.
Hello. Okay, first of all, the major thing that the administration and the board can do is to provide funds for the various programs. The academics, as far as it, that's why we have a superintendent and the school structure to, again, we're in 2015, and by now, if we haven't got pathways to professions, pathways to college, so forth, we have real problems. And for these issues, we need to analyze it. And that goes into the testing that most recently been addressing the fact that we have 9 schools that are in program improvement. And that's where they aren't meeting minimal standards in English and math. And until we cure those, and that's where my focus is, the persons who are in the AP classes and the bachelor, so those people are self-motivated. We don't have to concern about them. They're not our risk. We have, I'm going to make up a number, I don't know what the exact number is, but 80% are those who are not making the minimum grade so they can get out and function in society, just reading and math. So we have to do a lot of analysis, find out where the problems are, and then address them. And the score situation that we just witnessed so far, and to find out that we have one high school that's rated at 221 in the state, that's Rowland High School, and we have Nogales that rate at 413. How does that happen in the same district? And these are issues that I've presented to the board when I've gone to my 3 minutes of fame every month, is these issues. And I just got the yellow thing, so I'll move on. Thank you.
Mr. Humphreys. Mrs. Neal.
I think the strength about Rowland is that Rowland the board has tried, or I think, we try, at least I enforce that. We provide all the curriculums to different levels of students, because some of the students, their goal is to get into college. Some of the students, because of the personal reason, or a situation, that their goal is to get into a job market. And some of the students, they try to put a hold on their study. So Rowland, we provide we provide high levels classes to meet the high achievement students, and that's what I try to enforce. When I got elected in 2001, the first thing we put into is the IP program. And over the past 10 years, when I was on board, I tried to add more AP classes to meet the high achievement students whose goal is to go into top colleges. And also, I would like to expand ROP programs. ROP program is the program that we provide job training for our students. Sometimes the students, they may want to go to college, but they don't really know real world, the specific profession, what they're doing. It's probably they just think what the accountant is doing, but they don't have that experience. And through our ROP program, we have the students really take that classes, get the experience, internship in different field of profession, so they would know and experience that. I think those two directions I will have continue to improve and make an effort to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Ms. Friedman.
This is an excellent question. As a teacher, I have my students the first day of school write a sentence, I will. And most of them come up with, I will go to college, I will get my degree. And we say that every single morning, so I know my 5th graders are college bound. I also bring people from different careers to come and talk in my classroom. I think that is very good, and that would be nice if we had that at Rowland also. It is so important for them to go to college. This is all I talk about all year long. They're like, here she goes again. And I'm saying, you know, after you graduate from high school, you're going to get a 4-year degree. It's just, I want to instill it to every student that I've ever had. As far as the district, the honors classes at the intermediate level may not be preparing them to go to high school. And I would suggest that the high school teachers and the intermediate teachers, level teachers, get together and discuss so that the curriculum will be ready for them to be in high school and do well. College is like number one. I would suggest to have more college fairs at the at the high schools, and not even just high schools, at junior high level, intermediate level. Let's bring up everything about college. When I have 4 groups, and I give points for my groups in my classroom, they have to come up with a college name for themselves. So they come up with Harvard, UCLA, even Cal State LA, or Western Oregon University, where my oldest daughter went. And that, they get points, and when they win like a prize, a pencil. But it gives them an idea about, yes, we will be going to college, and that's what I want every student at Rowland to believe also. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Friedman. Mrs. Stewart.
Our children be prepared for the colleges? I don't think so. The reason is that right now my oldest daughter, is preparing to apply for the colleges. The colleges application is not only require the academic achievement anymore. They want to see the community event. They want to see how many activities they participate. They don't want you just, have the straight A. As a student, you have to be rounded. You have to, like I said, you need to know how to help others, respect others, and be able to work with others in the real world. As 6 years of human resource manager, I don't really look at the resume for their education. I look at their personalities. I look at their moralities. Their personalities tell me a lot to let me know if he or she will be really fit into the organization. So I would suggest to improve our curriculum a lot. Both of my daughters are in the school band. For the past years, it's cost me more and more for them to have other curriculums to develop their moral character. Why is that happening? Are we supposed to have enough resources to provide additional curriculum classes for preparation for students? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Mr. Malkin.
Well, I guess I'm going to be a little bit different on this one. As a board member, I feel that you have to represent the entire community. And when I say represent the entire community, you need to represent the families with the children that are going to go to college and those that aren't going to go to college. Not everybody's going to go to college, and that's just a fact. Now, I have to say that my wife and I both have our master's degree from UCLA. As I said, my son is a physician. But that doesn't mean that every son is going to be a physician or every child is going to get a master's degree. And I think as a board member, we have a responsibility to make sure every child, regardless of where they are in the school district, has an opportunity to succeed in what they desire. and what they desire isn't necessarily always a college degree. Now, I said earlier that I was on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and that's the local San Diego Valley Chamber of Commerce, which represents Walnut, Diamond Bar, Hacienda Heights, La Puente, what else am I missing here? Was it Rowland Heights? Thank you. And we have over 200 members that are part of our chamber. And I already brought up at the last board meeting that, that we offer mentorships for students in the Rowland Heights School District. A lot of the companies have already said that they'll be willing to do that. That if a child wants to learn about financing, if he wants to learn about advertising, if he wants to learn about print shop, if he wants to learn about plumbing, if he wants to learn about ambulance response, we have all those different types of members. That's members of our chamber. And they can do a mentorship to see if that's what they want to do. For those that want to go to college, yes, we need more AP classes, we need more honors classes. But for those that don't want to go to college, they need to be able to graduate with a skill that they can advertise when they go out into the community. And so I think we need to work at both ends of the spectrum, not just the top end.
Mrs. Name, I believe you'll be picking the next question. How would you handle making the tough decisions that you know are in the best interest of the district, but are unpopular with school employees and or the community?
That's a tough one. But I think being a board member, you will face that a lot, many times. I think, being a board member, the primary responsibility of being a board member is you need to focus on the students. We do everything and say that the policy should be around the students, not just for the convenience of the adults. If there's anything that will impair students' benefit, hinder students' learning, I would take my position and implement make the decision on that part. I know that a district is a very big organization, and you involve so many different parties to make a decision. But I think being a board member, the most important thing is that I need to know why I'm here and what I'm trying to do and what we try to accomplish, or what kind of impact we will have for the children. That's something that when I make a decision, I know a lot of people say, quite often people say, this is what they make a decision. I always say, what the community needs and what the student needs, what the best interest that I can accomplish when making when making the decision for our students, for Rowland as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Name.
When I vote, it will always be with students in mind. If it is good for the students, I'm going to vote that way. If the community is having a problem and doesn't think I should vote that way, I would want to hear their concerns and see why and try to tell them that this is best for the students. I will only vote if it's very good with the students. I would want to hear their concerns and find out why they don't think it is very good to vote yes or no on this thing that we're talking about. But when I vote, it is going to be always for the best interests of our students at Rowland. And once I do that, I know I have made the right decision, and the community and the staff will be happy with my decision overall.
Communication is the most important part in answering these questions. We need to let both parties understand what's the most important, what is the reasons behind making the decision. I have been dealing with a lot of situations like this as a commercial property directors. I'm in the middle, in between the owners and the tenants. And as everyone knows, owners have their thoughts. They want to have their best interest. So does tenant. So in order to make both parties a win-win situation, negotiation and communication are the two very useful tools to make each party understand why we make the decision. the reason behind it. Thank you.
Mr. Malkin.
You stole my thunder. I agree with that communication is the key to making a decision. However, it's not always going to be the popular or decision that everybody likes. If you make a decision that everybody likes all of the time, then I don't think you're managing correctly. You have a goal, you have a vision, you have a mission, and that's what the school district has. And if you keep that in mind when making decisions, I think you'll make the right decision as long as you have appropriate input into that decision. What happens is a lot of times people or organizations such as the school district will have a vision and a mission and goals. And it's something that's printed on a piece of paper that's hung on a wall and it's forgotten. And that's when you start getting into trouble, because then you're making decisions that are basically subjective rather than being objective. And I think that's what gets you in trouble. So if you always keep in mind what's your vision, what's your mission, what your goals are, and you make decisions that's in line with those, they'll be the right decision. It might not be the most popular decision, but they'll be the right decision. And I think that's what you need to do when making any decision. And communication is the goal to that.
Okay, a lot of what everybody said is it's true. The communication thing is very important, and within the district over the past decades, there's been a lot of divisiveness and to the confrontational attitudes towards the various elements. What I call the education platform, the teachers, everybody has a sector in there, and if to have the proper respect, and if everybody's tuned into what the mission is. And we all realize what our part is, and we realize that things change over time. Most recently with the classifieds, I had to lay off some people and to cut some hours and so forth. And it wasn't done with a great deal of loving care, and there was some issues behind it. And I was at the school board meeting when these people are essentially begging for their jobs. And I understand that completely. In a situation with the teachers union and their raises and so forth. Once we ameliorate and improve this attitude situation where everybody's on the same sheet of music for this this joint education platform, things will go forward and people will understand and not have a selfishness, over time. And this attitude situation is not going to change overnight. And we can also reflect in the LA Times, they have a situation with the Los Angeles School District that says thousands of teachers jobs are threatened by the charter school situation. Well, are we in the business of looking out for the best possible education for the kids and for their future or for whatever else? The teachers, everybody within the system has to come to, hey, gotta do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Ms. Friedman, it's your turn to select the question. How should RUSD address underperforming schools within the district?
Okay, my school is very low that I teach at. And so I think that you need to address the EL learners are struggling. Why not have after-school programs? Why not have remedial help at all of our schools that need that? We need to work on bringing these students that are low to above grade level or at grade level. The way we do that is we need to work harder in the classroom and possibly after school. We need to also educate parents. This week is conference week, and I met with this parent and I had a translator, and when I talked about comprehension grade, she did not know what comprehension meant in Spanish or English. So I had to explain what comprehension meant. We need to educate our parents. It always starts at the home. But unfortunately, some of our parents cannot help with the homework. That's when the school comes in and can help. If we were there at school to help these students that are struggling, they would not fall behind. We need to have programs for these students that are struggling behind. I have made so many referrals for student study team, which means I need them to be tested, and they come out as having a low IQ, and they say, oh well, they're not going to qualify, so never mind. So now what happens? They're lost in the system? No, not in my classroom, and not at Rowland. If that happens, that means those children need extra care. Do we need an aide to pull them out and do something with them? Maybe, but we need to address them and so that we could be at all of our schools high functioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Mrs. Stewart.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
I'd be happy to. How should Rowland Unified address underperforming schools within the district?
Each student have their own unique learning ways. We need to have each school, in regards of their below performing the average students, we need to help them. But how? I believe that right now we do have good program to help our students in school, in different schools. However, do our parents know that? Do they know to send their students for help in school? Again, that will be like the communication. We need to just like Donna said, the education starts from home. If parents don't know, if they don't know how to help their own students, how can school help out? So school district will have the responsibility to communicate with the families, especially for those students who perform below the average, and help them stand out for them to participate the programs that our school district is already offered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart. Mr. Malkin.
I just read an article just this week in Tennessee. They did an extensive study, the Vandenberg group did it. And they took several elementary schools and they supplied them with extra funding to buy materials, to increase pay for the teachers, and just to make this, the learning experience richer. And what they found out is that those that got supplemental supplies and funding, etc., they did not have better outcomes than those that did not. So then they looked into it to see why that occurred. And when they found out that socioeconomic conditions had a bigger factor on success than just supplies alone in a better classroom. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of families out there. You'll hear in Rowland the north side versus the south side, as far as a discrepancy between the two sides of Rowland. And if you look at it, you'll see that there are many families out there in Rowland Heights that are living paycheck to paycheck or welfare check to welfare check. I run a shoe program where I provide shoes to needy elementary school children both in Hacienda La Puente and in Rowland. I've given out over 1,000 pairs of shoes. When I raise money through our senior pathfinders to buy these shoes, I get often the question is, where did these shoes, or where are they being sent to? They find it hard to believe that we have children in Rowland that need shoes that can't afford them. If a child cannot have his own basic needs met at home, he's not going to learn in school. So we need to approach this both from an academic point, and we need to approach this from a socioeconomic point. And like several of the other candidates said, we need to do more for family education, how to assist their child in education, and how to be a support for them in education, as well as academically in providing a richer environment in the classroom. It's not one or the other, but it's both.
A number of things we can always agree on. One thing, you can take something and you throw all the money you want at it, and things aren't going to change as Dave pointed out. But here's another issue, that poverty does not equal stupidity. And if you maybe heard of George Washington Carver, who was a slave, so forth. And he's one of the most preeminent botanists, so forth. And in his words, he said, education is the key to the golden door of freedom. And this is what it's all about. And all these different steps, everybody said they've had good parts of the whole. And first of all, we have to have financial support for all the, everybody says, hey, let's do this, let's do that. If you haven't got the bucks there, forget about it. Also, it's well known, and from the process that got Julie Mitchell her job, the professional office, but say, guess what? The taxpayers, the constituents don't trust you. We in this district have to do what is necessary, and part of that is transparency. And we've been talking about it, audit that's been going on for years. And so that people know, one, where's the money? And we've got to somehow get that trust back so we can get the money that we can use to get all these programs to help with the parents and right on up the scale and hold each party responsible. The parents have to be responsible right on up the scale, and we can have market success. Thank you.
Underperforming, which means that student is not achieving what they are expecting, and it's been issues in the district. And I think first, I think underperforming is the combination of many things. It's related to the family, related to students, it's also related to the school side. And how we try to make a change in that part, to how can we make the student want to learn. That's something that deeper than just have like after school program or intervention program. I think first thing we need to do is to show the careness, to show the concerns to the student, talk to the students, to find out why the students cannot have issues with the learning. I believe that every student, when they go to school, they want to learn, because according to the research, the students, the students or the young people that they get into trouble, the first thing they say is that because they don't feel they're good, because they are behind at school, and that was the issue, which affect many things. So I think so if we have students who is underperformed, we need to find out the reason, and based upon that finding, and we provide the appropriate support. If they need after school program, they need tutoring, we'll provide the tutoring. If they need some support to deal with something happened at school, and we refer to the appropriate agencies, or we take action. I think finding out the roots is the only way to solve the problem.
Thank you, Mrs. May. I believe it's now Mrs. Shu's turn to pick a question. What is your vision for education in the community?
Education is more fundamental. In order to create a good good community, we need to have a good education. My vision in regards what is the education is by providing enough resources for our school district, for each different individual school, for their needs, for students' needs, what they want to learn, and we will be able to provide them what they need. Give you an example. For the past years, I have donate more than, I can't even imagine, more than like $1,000 in monetary and in resources to our teachers. Why? Why can our teachers get enough resources to teach our students? We need to allocate those resources into the right places in order for our education to reach its goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shu. Mr. Malkin.
When you think of it, when a child's born, he's born of a blank slate. And then through experiences, through contacts in the community, and etc., they start developing personality, and from that they have desires and dreams of what they want to do when they get older. And I feel that the perfect school system would support that child in what he wants or she wants to do or become, and not stop or hinder that process. Many times the child has dreams to do certain things and they're told, no, you can't do that. Or no, that's something that a boy does or a girl does. Or no, that's not a job that our family does. I think the perfect school system would support the dreams of children and give them the opportunities to fulfill those dreams. Now, that's not an easy job to do because there's a wide variety of things that children want to do. And I think that a perfect school system will help them narrow that down, see what the expectations are, see what they need to do as far as education, and guide them through that process that they can eventually fulfill their dreams and become that. The other thing is that I think the school district doesn't necessarily have to throw more money at the children in order for them to achieve that. I think we need to be wiser on how we spend. Necessary to have more money, but we need to be smarter on how we spend our money in order to help these children support these dreams.
Thank you.
Okay, for this particular school district, as we've already discussed in the review on it, is attitude. If we all don't have the appropriate attitude, nothing's going to change. We're just going to go on as we have been. Number two, on the there was a scathing report that came down in 2008 from a crisis team sent down from Sacramento to evaluate school districts. And what this report said, that we had a computer system, administrative computer system, that was like from the Jurassic era. And to this date, it has not changed a great deal. Fundamentally, it's the same. Something positive out of that, I've learned from certain sources that Superintendent Julie Mitchell is looking in to bring that eventuality about. Then we can step up and manage our administrative structure in a very positive way. So we're going to the big steps. The other thing is 100% audit. The people do not trust the district, and until we can get the trust from the district, we're not going to have the monies to do what we want in a timely manner. And we can go back to the year 2000 when Robert Wirtz of the district came down and said, we want $125 million to bring up this decaying system. And at break time I said, Mr. Wirtz, that's a good $120 million, boom, done deal. He said, no, I didn't say that. The bond is $120 million. We need $250 million to take care of these projects. And that's why we have a 20-year build out from 2000 to 2020, when if we had done the money situation from day one, we would have had our build out done in 2010. We have a lot of internal problems, management problems that needed to be addressed. And once we get that trust, then we can go to the people and say, we need some more money, to the extent that the Bond Oversight Committee they had, that I went to the last one, guess what? They have unfunded projects from 2006. Red flag.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Mrs. Nina.
I think my vision, my goal for education is to fulfill children's dream. K-12 education is fundamental education. In this period of time, we equip our students to make sure that they are trained to be able to fulfill their dream. Either they go to college or they go to work. A happy child, a whole child education is my dream. And I believe that only a whole child education, we can educate, we can teach our kids to be both mentally and physically healthy. When the children are mentally and physically healthy, when they encounter challenges, they know how to deal with it. When they face the things that they don't know which way to go, they will go back, they will thinking skill. Train them the critical thinking, train them how to think, equip them for every basic training, the things that they need in the future. So when they leave Rowland, when they go into college, they know honest, integrity, hardworking is the key of success. They know, be happy, try to help people, love people is how they they can promote them, take them to a long way. Only a physically, mentally healthy students will be the asset to this community, to this society. Only in educate a whole child, we can avoid the future campus shooting.
Thank you, Mrs. Dinh. Ms. Freeman.
My vision would be that Rowland is the choice district to be at. Children would want to be here. Families would want their children to be here. Why? We would have programs here at Rowland to help all students. Everybody would enjoy coming to our district. How would we do that? Yes, we may have to have some parent meetings at all of our schools to help them educate their own children and have very good communication. We may have classes after school for remedial help or students that just want help with their homework. We would have honors classes at a high level for these students to be successful. We would want our students to want to be college ready. Every student can be college ready when they leave our school district. I also feel that discipline would be not there. I know it would be not possible to have no discipline problems, but possibly the administrators could be trained on making sure that the students that may have discipline problems not have them return back to the classroom and continue their behavior. The most important part about my vision is that everybody will get along. The teachers will be happy, the classified people will be happy, mostly the students will be happy, and the community will be very happy because this will be the choice school district to come to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Candidates will go for a second round of questions, so we'll begin again with Mr. Malkin. This question is a little long, so I'll repeat it if you would like me to do so. Assuming the district received $125,000 in new discretionary funds, how would you vote to spend it? Would you A, use it to increase teacher salaries, B, use it to add an advanced placement class in chemistry or another in physics, C, use it to increase performance at an underperforming school?
I would take C, that you have to improve performance in the underperforming schools. The reason I say that is that a lot of the underperforming schools are the elementary schools on the north side. And that's where the children receive a foundation for future learning. If they're going to learn how to read, write, do math, science, etc., they need the foundation. If they don't get that foundation, they're not going to be successful later on in intermediate or in the high schools. And so I think that we need to make sure we get a good foundation. If they don't get a good foundation, it does us no good to have AP and honors classes in high school because they won't be able to, meet the challenge up there. So that would be one of the items I would pick. Now, how would I do that? I said earlier, my background's in mental health. I do believe that socioeconomics has a lot to do with children's success in elementary school. And I do feel that the school system is lacking in that area. And so I would use that money to help beef up the Family Resource Center. We recently laid off a number of the primary interventionists that were at that center. I would hire those people back. It was $105,000 that we saved by laying those people off. Those individuals did pre-testing for K through 4th grade to look for behavioral problems in children. And then based on those results, they took interventions. Now that's been eliminated because they lost those positions. So I think that we need to beef up the Family Resource Center, get those people involved in the community, and get a good foundation for the elementary school children, and then they will be successful later on when they get to high school.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
That's just like a no-brainer. That we got to hit the lower and underperforming schools, and also what we call the PI schools, performance improvement, and that's where the federal government is giving stipend to this school district to bolster up and bridge the poverty gap. And now we have to analyze. This is where we go to system analysis. Why are they, and Nogales is under for 5 years. I don't know about you, that upsets me a little bit, that for 5 years, and we haven't solved this problem. We have significant problems within the district, and that illustrates it more than anything. And besides that, we on the board, we set policy and procedures and set forth that through the administrative aspect, that's Dr. Julie Mitchell and her crew. It's their job to get it done. And if they aren't getting it done, that's where you have to hold our feet to the fire, we hold her feet to the fire, and get the job done. We have to do it right, and we have to do it smart, and use every one of those dollars wisely.
Ms. Gallegos, would you please repeat the question?
Be happy to. Assuming the district received $125,000 in new discretionary funds, how would you vote to spend it? Would you A, use it to increase teacher salaries, B, use it to add an advanced placement class in chemistry or another in physics, C, use it to increase performance at an underperforming school?
First, $125,000 is nothing in the education system. And the three options provided here has nothing to do with this one-time money, $125,000. When we do the financial planning, we do the budget, the ongoing expense, you have ongoing income to support that program. And one-time money, you need to find out the project, the things that you can use this money to solve, and it's only one time. So, from a financial planning standpoint, I would have my staff, superintendent, cabinet, to come out with, or the school side, to come out with the recommendation, how to spend this one-time money, $125,000. Ongoing expense such as underperforming students, everything else, it needs much, much more than $125,000.
Thank you, Mrs. Neal. Ms. Friedman.
Okay, so first I heard A, I'm a teacher. I know happy teachers make happy students, but I would not vote for A. B, yes, we need more college-ready classes, honors classes, but that would only affect a certain amount of students. But if C, which is the one I want to vote for, will affect a lot more students. Our money, to me that's a lot of money, our money can be used for a lot of students that need it, whether it's after school programs, whether it's hiring aides, pulling out students to help them to not be low anymore, to help them whatever they need to do in any subject. They need to get higher, and the only way to do that may be in a small group or something like that. We need to help these kids, and I believe the money would do the best with that. And these children can have after-school class, they can have adults work with them as much as possible, and maybe they will be able to go back to the regular classroom and the aide can get some more, and maybe work with a small group or 5 kids to get them back on track and be either average, but of course they would not be below average, and use the money that way. It would be well used that way.
Mrs. Stewart.
Yes, my choice will be C, obviously, because to create a good community, we need to have good school system. How to increase our community value? By improving our school system. If everyone likes our school system, they will move over. It's not like we are going to lose our students to other school districts. They will come back to us, and more people will come back to us. So, of course, to improve, to help out those schools that's below average is the priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart. Our next question, Mr. Humphreys, I believe you pick. What do you consider to be the top 2 or 3 most important roles and responsibilities of the school board?
Well, that's a no problem here. I've already mentioned it, and unless they're addressed, all the rest of it will relatively meaningless. One is the attitudes, and we've already gone over that. I will not belabor that. We all have to on the same sheet of music, and we to break down all those barriers. And it won't happen. You don't change attitudes overnight, but that we got to bridge that gap, and the sooner the better. The next thing is transparency. There's a huge amount of, in my canvassing, going from door to door and so forth. Hey man, we don't trust these people. What are they doing with the money? We make some inquiries, and I could tell you about some things. I've been to the school board situation. I said, hey, this doesn't seem right, the commingling of funds and so forth, but nobody wants to address those particular issues. And of course, I'm on the outside. And so once we get the audit, so people can feel confident, and it's all you have to do is look at West Covina and Mike Spence up there. They just had an audit, and that's supposed to, they've had audits every year. Everything was supposed to be fine until they just had their recent one. And some people, there could be some unpleasant outcomes as sort of that. And then once that is done, once we have the possibility of getting that trust back from those taxpayers that provide the mother's milk of education. They say that about politics, but money is the mother's milk which will allow us, and properly spent, always put that caveat in there. It's got to be properly and judiciously spent, so we get that ROI, return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Ms. Nair.
Being a school board member, the duties and responsibilities should be setting up the policies and directions based upon community needs and students' needs. And also that set up the programs that to make sure to follow the directions, set up the budget to follow the directions based upon the policies that we have set up. And second thing I would like to do, I think it's important, is to set up the accountability. I think accountability is the fundamental things that in any organization. We have in Rowland, we have about 2,000 employees. This is a very big organization. How do we hold every single employees, including teachers, principals, administrators, accountable? That's something that I will look into it. Only through the accountability, we can make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. And I think that's very important in this organization. That's a fundamental thing that we can provide to our students to make sure that our students will be learning in the way they're supposed to learn, in the environment they're supposed to learn, and be successful as we all hope.
Thank you, Mrs. Nair. Ms. Freeman.
Okay, I think that we should have great communication as a board member. We need to make sure the community knows what's going on, the staff, everybody in Rowland Unified should know what is going on. That is our job. Community needs to know everything that we do. We're voted by the community, we owe that to them. I also believe that when we vote, we need to find out the facts before we vote yes or no on any issue. I am not afraid to ask a lot of questions to find out. There will be looking around, asking people, and things like that, because you cannot vote unless you know everything. And the last thing would be, I lost my train of thought, I'm so sorry. The last thing is, as a board member, you need to be seen. When there are activities, you need to be there. The most exciting thing about being on board for me is when we go and visit the classrooms and see the teachers teaching their students and the classified staff working with their students. The board members need to be seen at the schools, at all the activities, as much as possible. I believe that is very important as a board member.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Ms. Chu.
Board members need to be more accountable and transparent on all the decision making and the fundings. As everybody knows, all the resources, all the fundings are from our hard-earned money. We need to make, as a board member, we need to make sure that the resources are put into the right places. board members, just like the CEO of an organization, they need to use the right people and then supervise them to make the goal, to achieve the goal. And so that's why it's very important for the board members to step out into the community, to talk to different school principals or the parents, or into the join the community activities to find out what our community really needs or what they really want. It's not just inside a meeting with 5 board members talking about what they think that our community needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart. Mr. Malkin.
I guess I'm old-fashioned in this respect. From my background in consulting with mental health facilities, I find that in order to be successful, you need a focus. And I feel that the board is responsible to establish that focus. And for our school system, it's our vision. And we have a vision for the school system. It was developed by the community, by the stakeholders, by the teachers, by everybody. And we developed a vision. Then we developed a mission based on that, and then developed goals on how we were going to achieve that. The board that gets elected is responsible to see that we follow that, and that it doesn't become something of a wall decoration. And just to be very plain and simple, that we're responsible to see that that vision, mission, and goals are met, and that all decisions we make are in line with that. And it's that simple.
Thank you, Mr. Malkin. I believe we have time for one more question before we go to closing statements. So, Mrs. Naya. Thank you. And Mrs. Naya and group, what skills, training, and leadership experience do you have to offer, and how will this experience help you be successful as a school board member?
First, I've been a parent of 3 children who graduated from Rowland. I have been serving this community for over 20 years, and I have been serving on this board for 12 years. And also, I have served 2 years as a personnel commissioner. I know the operation of the system, and I have to exercise my due diligence in doing everything that I have done. I love students. I want to see every student to be successful. However, wish will not come true by itself. Wish has to be carried out by a person. What we need to I would say that we need to focus on, I will focus on the students. And I have been doing that for the past 12 years. I've been through very hard time in Rowland, and also I've been enjoying our students' achievement. When I go out, I will, when students get award, that's an honor to me and to this community. And I'm just representing the community to receive that award. When I see students not doing well, when students need help, I will step out and help the students. What I'm trying to say is that I've been serving for the past 20 years, not only in the community, but also in the board, in the district, in personnel commissioner. I know the system, and I would love to serve the students if I could. And then that's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Naya. Ms. Friedman.
I bring my educational experience background. I've been a teacher for almost 36 years. When people talk about Common Core, I know all about it. My students practiced 2 years ago. They took the test last year. I know what kind of questions they ask. I know what they expect. They are very difficult. I prepare my students for that. So when testing comes up, I am able to talk about it firsthand. I have worked with low students my whole life of my 36 years of teaching. I know it can be very difficult. When you talk about students like that, I know firsthand. I work with them one-on-one, small group. I try to get help for them. I know when they talk about an SST meeting, student study team, an IEP, That means that when you're in the special ed, you have an annual IEP meeting and you meet with the parents. I know all about that. I know about honors classes, principal's honor roll, and all of that firsthand. I give out certificates, even if my school doesn't have the honor roll system. I know a lot about the school and the classroom setting and working with people. I have been very successful for all of my life as a teacher. And when you have anything about school, I can tell you about discipline, I can tell you how students are, I can tell you many, many, many success stories from my own students. I am very fortunate that they come back and they visit me and they remember. One student that graduated from UCLA told me they remembered that motto. They said, every morning, I will go to college. So if you're talking about education, I have a lot of background in that for almost 36 years. Thank you.
As I have mentioned, school district is just like an organization. I've been working with owners, tenants, vendors for my past 15 years, and to negotiate, to communicate with them, to make the win-win situation. We need to, how do we improve our school district? Because board members are the decision makers. Their decision is going to affect all of our community. So my experiences in the past, how to do the budgeting. We need to report, we need to do the budget, we need to present the financial reports, explain to them, to our owners, explain to them how the money had been spent and how we're going to reach the goal, how we increase their property value. Those are all the experiences that I will be able to bring into as a school board member. Thank you.
Mr. Malkin.
Well, I'm fortunate in the sense that I'm a personnel commissioner right now, and just for those people here, there's two sections in the school. You have certificated, which are your teachers, and classified, which are your support staff. The Personnel Commission is in charge of the merit system that governs the classified. I've been a personnel commissioner since 2011, so I have extreme knowledge on that side of it. As a matter of fact, I went to the Personnel Commission Academy and graduated as a certificated personnel commissioner. The second part is I lived with my wife for over 40 some odd years. She's a retired school teacher, and you don't live with somebody for 30 some odd years and not learn from living with them. So, especially a teacher. One thing I've learned is that a teacher's job starts when they get home. It doesn't end when the bell rings. And so I've seen her many a times at home doing all types of work. Plus, she was a union negotiator. So I heard a lot of stories from the union side. So I've learned a lot about teaching through my wife. I've learned a lot through my job. I was a risk manager. A risk manager basically is a person that tries to identify the root cause for problems. And I think that's important because it teaches you to think analytically. When you are on the board and you make decisions, and they're important decisions that affect children's lives, you have to be analytical in understanding those decisions and how you come to a conclusion. If you become subjective, then it's going to get you in trouble. You have to keep your objectivity. And that's one thing that my job has taught me how to do. The other part of my job is performance improvement, and that is identifying opportunities to improve, and I bring that along with me also. That was part of my job. So being a personnel commissioner, the spouse of a teacher, and being a risk manager and a performance improvement director, put that all together, I'm your candidate.
Okay, folks, in this discussion, we go to the root cause of the issues. And that is that as a board member, you're not a teacher. You're up in a high-level policy established situation. You have a lot of people that supervisors, ones that does the nuts and bolts of the implementation. And if you, I don't see Dr. Julie Mitchell here, she could tell you the same thing. This is what she told us the various meetings that I've been at. And the thing is to hold the responsibility. But also, something I bring to it is the analysis, system analysis for many years of the various federal government agencies, and some talk about, some can't. And bring that, and that's so important with all of the budget, all the different facets of the educational system to be able to do that. Also, as a registered nurse in ER and ICU, that's critical care management. And that's, again, the analysis and making the judgments so that the district, which has some very critical problems, that they are addressed and taken care of in an appropriate manner. And to that, I've been going to the school board meetings, and one of which I stood up and said, you know, we talk about communications. And I brought up 2 months ago that, hey, we have audio-video departments in the various class structures. How about having them videotape, they used to use tape back in the old days, but of these board meetings, and then put them on public access television so everybody can see them, the Canton, and we can have the language departments put in the subtitles in Spanish and Chinese, etc. But this is just the beginning, this analysis, programming, problem solving, and making things better to where they should be in the competition that we have today.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. This concludes the question and answer portion of this particular part of the program, but we are going to go to closing statements here. But before we do, I want to acknowledge Debbie Enos again, who's been a wonderful timekeeper. How about a round of applause for her? She's been very fair and just a delight. So thank you, Debbie, for doing this. We will begin with Donna Friedman, and your 3 minutes begin.
I hope this evening I have shown you my dedication to education and students. I would like to finish by telling you my key priorities. Class size. Currently, the class size at upper elementary classrooms is 35 students to 1 teacher. That is extremely high. Combination classes. A combination class is a class that has 2 different grade levels, 1 teacher teaching, and in the same classroom all year long. That is very difficult. I know that firsthand because I taught a 4th grade and a 5th grade convocation last year. I would ask, as a board member, is there a reason why we have the combination classes, or is there other alternatives? Extracurricular activities. I believe that there should be music more evident in the elementary classrooms. Field trips. At this time, Rowland has field trips for a select group or a grade level. I believe that we should have more field trips for all grade levels to enhance their education at Rowland Unified. A former student of mine wrote me a letter and said he never thought about going to college until I took him on a field trip to UCLA when he was in 5th grade. Today, he is an engineer. I also wanted to talk about declining enrollment, but because of time, I won't be able to. I want to say that I promise to vote and always have the students first in mind. Whatever's best for the students, that's how I will vote. I promise to do a very good job and make you proud that you voted for me. I remember on November 3rd to vote for Donna Friedman, teacher, educator, serving students like ours for almost 36 years. Thank you.
We can spend hours and hours, meeting after meetings, to discuss senior care, to discuss the problem in your school district. But the real question is, when are we going to make the changes? Are we ready to stand up and to do the actions? Or are we going to be just still waiting for a miracle to strike? As an immigrant, I understand how important a good school system is to our next generation and to our community. With my expertise in communication, negotiation, and problem solving. I'll be able to work with community to create the communication channel between school district and community, and work with others to monitor, make sure the allocation of resources are put into the right places. I believe in people and teamwork. In order to improve our school system and to increase our community value, we need all of your support and involvement in order to make it happen. I'm not a politician or speaker. I'm just a mother who cares enough, willing to contribute my time and experiences to make the changes, and putting all my heart in serving our community. I want to hear someday, after years of graduation, our students will still be proud of to say, I graduate from Rowland Unified School District. Thank you.
You know, I'm not going into this really being naive, because one of the things that we're all talking about is our experience, but what we're losing is a tremendous amount of experience over here that Heidi had given the district, and none of us will be able to replace that from day one. We're going to have to gain our own experience in our own ways, and that's going to be very difficult. But I feel that I have a background that will enable me to start that process. One is being a personnel commissioner, I think has really helped me understand the school system, both the certificated and the classified, from a point of view of the employees that are concerned. Being in risk management and performance improvements give me an understanding of process on how everything that you do is a process, whether it be in business, school, or whatever. And it's taught me how to understand processes and how to look at them in an analytical way and find out ways to improve them. But most importantly of all, going door to door.
Okay, folks, just a little recap on things. As Dave acknowledged, attitude is everything. And with that proper attitude, we can make the changes necessary to get the transparency that'll make the taxpayers and the parents, everyone in this district, willing to trust the district, something that is long advanced. Also, we need a person such as myself. I have no strings tied to anybody. I don't owe anything to anyone except the taxpayers and the constituents of this district. And that's who I'm out there for, to get that trust back from them, because there are going to be some hard decisions. There is not enough money to do everything. Everybody's saying, hey, let's do this, let's do it. Everybody do anything they want if you have enough money. And to that extent, Diamond Bar's coming up with a $200 million bond issue. And you know how long they've been around and successful in their endeavors. And then we have to ask the hard questions. Why do we have 9 schools in program improvement? And some of them for extensive long time. The hard questions that you need, the analytic mind are persons who are not afraid to ask those questions, so that we can say, we want to get the best teachers. The best teachers are not going to come into a school where there's all this squabbling, a school system, and all this stuff over wages and so forth. And if you haven't got the facilities where they want to come to, and the attitude of the administration, so you're all part of a team, and you give that respect to everyone, the taxpayers and your staff and throughout, and we can make a dramatic improvement. And that's why, as an ER ICU nurse, I make the critical decision, and we have a district that has critical problems, and I'm just what the doctor ordered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Mrs. Rudinator.
The reason I come out to running for the election, one of the reasons is that Rowland has been going through so much in the past several years, the ups and downs and all the issues that all other candidates has brought out. And those issues need to be worked on. And that's the reason that I decided to run. This is an unfinished job. The district, we have new superintendent, we have new cabinets, most of them, and a lot of people are retired. And then the district and also has many issues. And the reason I come to run is I want to reunite Rowland, different departments, different unions, different group of peoples, so we can work together, focus on our students. That's the reason I come out to run. And the issues of the ups and downs, the challenges that we have been facing in the past, there are reasons why it happens. If I get elected, and what I would like to do is, first I would like to set up the accountability, top down, from superintendent, from the board, superintendent, all the way to classified employees. I would like to hold everybody accountable. Accountable for whom? For our students. And the second thing is that transparency, communication go into hand to hand. And I believe that district has been working very hard. However, they have been lacking of communication. A lot of times we, among the board or among the cabinet, we talk about the plans, we talk about the visions, and then, but because we didn't, or it wasn't properly communicated to the communities, to the teachers, to the parties who were involved, that created a lot of confusions. And that's something that I would like to work on, improve the communication skills, and then in turn that we do have transparency. We don't have anything to hide, but we need to let the community know, that every party know what we try to do, what we have been doing. And then that's the only way that you can put everybody together. You can rebuild the base, reconnect each people, and then put Rowland's tradition back. People trust each other, focus on working, serving our students. Thank you.
How about a round of applause for all of our candidates here? Not easy being in the hot seat here, and they all did a wonderful job. I want to thank the Rowland Heights Coordinating Council for the opportunity to be able to moderate this evening's event. This is highly educational for me to get to know all of you. Candidates, I hope you'll be able to stay around for a little while afterwards, so if members of the audience have specific questions, they can address them with you. With that, I'd like to say thank you once again, and Mr. Ebingham, any final words for you?
We're finishing a little early, so there will be time for you to talk to the candidates afterwards. I just want to remind everyone to pick up one of the yellow sheets over there. Don't forget.